Welcome to the third and final session of the Health Psychology series. My name is Temiloluwa Ajike from the University of Lagos Psychology Department. In this video, we will be discussing the various health behaviors and taking a close look at doctor-patient relationship. Behaviors are behaviors that impact our health either positively or negatively, depending on how we practice them. We have nutrition, exercise, substance abuse, attitudes and moods, stress, and quality of life. Nutrition is the process of providing or obtaining the food necessary for health and growth. There are two types of nutrients. We have macronutrients, which are essential for growth, repair, and overall function, and micronutrients, which are vital for health, immunity, and development. Our body needs both these types of nutrients, but we need macronutrients in larger amounts and micronutrients in smaller amounts. To remember this easily, macro means big and micro means small. Examples of macronutrients: carbohydrates, which are generally for energy, brain function, and can be found in grains, tubers, fruits, and veggies like rice, yam, oranges, and vegetables, which aren't particularly scientifically defined, but they are any part of a plant that is edible that is not the fruit. Proteins, they are the building blocks of every part of our body. They are in charge of repair and immunity. We can find them in meat, beans, and nuts like ground nuts and so on. Fats, they are good for balancing hormones, good for building cells. They have help in vitamin absorption, and they can be found in oils, avocados, and nuts as well. Notice that proteins help with immunity, but that is not their main function. They are mainly for building the body's parts, and providing energy to those parts. They are a, they are a slower source of energy than carbohydrates, but their energy is more intense than the energy that carbohydrates has. So protein has a slower source of energy, but it is easier to store the energy as fat. Carbohydrates is easier to burn immediately. Examples of micronutrients: vitamins, which supports vital body processes, like with fruits and vegetables. They both provide vitamins, and there are different kinds of vitamins. For example, vitamin A helps with the eyes, and vitamin C has a lot to do with immunity, and it has very high antibacterial qualities. So all the vitamins each have what they do, but in general, they support vital body processes. Minerals, they help for strong bones and nerve transmission. That is the electron related activities of the body are greatly supported by minerals that we can get from salt and milk and green food. It also helps with strong bones, like with calcium, because calcium is a good example of a mineral. Best nutritional practices involve consuming a balanced diet rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins, and healthy fats. Malnutrition, on the other hand, occurs when the body doesn't receive or absorb enough essential nutrients. Note that either of these could occur depending on the quality and quantity of the food. The key is rich quality food but good portion control. So, in summary, best nutritional practices involve balance, portion control, hydration, limiting, and prioritizing the kinds of food we eat. So, if you take processed foods, that's fine, but we should take it in reasonable proportions. Prioritize whole foods and unprocessed foods. Take more natural things. Instead of buying cheap exotic fruit juice, why not buy an actual pineapple or an orange? Now, malnutrition comes in two forms: overnutrition and undernutrition. Undernutrition involves deficiencies which lead to health issues like anemia and other terrible situations like that. Overnutrition can easily be seen through obesity, which also has its fair share of health related issues like high blood pressure and high cholesterol levels blocking the veins and arteries. Exercise is another health behavior, which is any activity that requires physical effort and is carried out with the goal of sustaining or improving physical fitness, which includes stamina, breathing, weight management, and so on. The benefits of exercise to the body and mind. Exercise protects against injury. If we exercise often enough, we get good coordination, good balance, stronger muscles, and it protects us or reduces our susceptibility to internal and external injury. Exercise improves cardiovascular function, which is the function of breathing and blood flow in the body. It makes our lungs stronger, more reliable, and clearer. It also helps our blood to have enough oxygen and to flow well throughout the body. It helps to hone our athletic skills, that is, our flexibility, our speed, our movement, our muscle coordination. For those of us that are interested in athleticism, it helps to manage weight. So we might not necessarily be losing weight or gaining weight, but we'll be able to maintain our weight at the level that is healthy for us. And for those that need to lose or gain weight, exercise is a very reliable route. It boosts the immune system. It makes us less susceptible to diseases. In fact, it helps us with aging because it forces the body to release hormones that help protect the body against diseases and aging. It counteracts depression. It helps relieve anxiety. It helps clear our mind and it elevates the body's mood. It makes us more alert, more active, and these have shown to counteract the effects of depression in a person. And as I said, more specifically, it elevates the mood. Exercise is any activity that requires physical effort and is carried out with the goal of sustaining or improving physical fitness in areas such as stamina, muscular strength, cardiovascular strength, and so on. Types of exercise. We have flexibility exercises. These are used to improve our range of motion and reduce our risk of injury by helping us be more in tune with the parts of our body and how we move it. Aerobic exercises. These increase cardiovascular health and endurance. That is, they help us breathe better, make our lungs stronger, and help with blood flow. Anaerobic exercises help to build muscle mass and muscle strength. They help for power. They usually involve using heavy machinery or heavy objects and lifting them at certain positions. Dynamic exercises involve active or flowing movements like running or yoga. Now, yoga is an example because yoga involves all sorts of positions in which we move from these positions rapidly. So, the movement from one position to another in a rapid system or in a rapid method makes it dynamic. The same way running is dynamic because we're actively moving our arms and our legs in step per second each time our position is changing. Static exercises. These are the exact opposite of dynamic exercises. They involve staying in isolated poses or isolated movements, like with weightlifting, where you are in one position and you're just lifting in a heavy object. in a particular position. You're not really moving a lot. Maybe only one part of your body is moving. Or holding a stretch. Holding a stretch is like yoga, but you're not moving between positions as quickly. You're holding those positions for much longer. And finally, calisthenics. Calisthenics use your body weight to build resistance. So it is much like anaerobic exercises, just that instead of using machines, you are using the weight of your body to build your muscle strength and build your muscle resistance. Now, exercise has two major classifications. It could be classed based on exercises that affect our body, like our body mass, like flexibility, aerobics, and anaerobics. These affect our body's flexibilities, our body's endurance, and our body's mass. Or it could be classed based on the type of movement involved, which refers to the dynamic, static, and calisthenics. Most exercise programs combine a number of these types of exercises into one session. According to the American Psychological Association, substance use disorder is a cluster of physiological, behavioral, and cognitive symptoms associated with the continued use of substances despite substance-related problems, distress, and/or impairment such as impaired control and risky use. It is the habitual and recreational use of an addictive agent in bracket drug that is consumed in dangerous amounts or in dangerous situations. In essence, it is the constant, frequent, or continued use of a substance that has proven to have harmful effects on the individual. Despite these effects, the individual continues taking these drugs. It is also one of the symptoms listed in the DSM-5, that's a Diagnostic Statistical Manual that psychologists in a lot of countries use. It is also listed there that an individual with substance use disorder, one of the symptoms or one of the differential diagnoses is that they would have tried to stop and would not have been able to stop. You can confirm other symptoms and diagnoses from the DSM-5. It is available online. Substance use occurs on a spectrum, going from beneficial use to outright chronic dependence. At the stage of beneficial use, the substances that are being used have a positive effect on the health, and they may be medically approved, that is, you had to get the prescription from a doctor, a psychiatrist who is also a doctor, or it may be something as simple or basic as coffee or tea, which help basic things like alertness, or the moderate consumption of red wine, which is alcohol, which is also a drug, but it's beneficial for calming down and feeling relaxed. Then we progress, or let's say regress, to casual, non problematic use. That is, the individual uses these drugs that are not particularly socially accepted, but they use it for recreational purposes. Maybe they're at a party, they just want to have fun. They decide to get drink a lot of alcohol, not necessarily drunk, because it's not causing any harmful effects. So they just really had a lot of alcohol to drink. In states, in countries where weed is legal, they could take a bit of weed as well in edible form, and it won't have any harmful effects. It just gives them a bit of a high in a social gathering. Then it could regress to problematic use, where the substance that is being used is beginning to have negative consequences on the person's individual life or their relationship life, like with their friends, family, or their social lives. Maybe affecting their work. It may be affecting their ability to carry out important tasks like driving, maybe because of binge consumption, or they might be taking those substances through harmful routes. Like with people that take heroin, like how they have to inject it, or even smoking, something as basic as taking weed can be counted as harmful because smoking hurts the lungs. And the final regression is chronic dependence, where the individual has been dependent for a long time. Their use is habitual. They are compelled to use these substances even though the substance has proven to have negative effects on their health and on their social life. They have no control over their compulsion, they have impaired control. And like I said earlier, individuals at this stage may try to stop, may decide, oh, I'm going on a break. I want to go on a 2 month break. And they can't. They find that they cannot go on that break, at least for that long. They cannot stop, even though they felt before like they could. At this point, it is chronic dependence. At this point, it is substance use disorder. Attitudes and moods. Attitudes are relatively stable and enduring evaluations of people, objects, ideas, or behaviors. They involve cognitive, affective, and behavioral components. That is, they involve our thoughts, our feelings, and how we act concerning these thoughts and feelings. While moods are more transient, they fluctuate between emotional states. You could be feeling one way in your mood this moment and be feeling another way in another moment. They're often less intense and less specific than emotions. Either way, attitudes and moods have a bidirectional relationship. That is, one affects the other. Let's look at types of attitude. Explicit attitudes. These are consciously held beliefs and feelings. For example, exercise is important. Believing that exercise is important is an explicit attitude and it directly affects our actions, or at least it's supposed to. Implicit attitudes. These are unconscious automatic associations and they're usually as a result of our explicit attitudes. So, for example, because you feel like exercise is important explicitly, implicitly, you would feel happy or feel positive when you see gym clothes or exercise clothes because explicitly you believe exercise is important, so it has affected your implicit attitude, which is unconscious. And types of mood, we have positive moods, which are associated with well being and having health benefits. I mean, even anecdotally, we should all be able to relate to this. You feel better when you're happy, when you're joyful, when you're contented, when you're excited, when something good happens and it gives you a reason to feel positive. Generally, your day is better. If you're feeling ill before, you feel better. You don't have a headache as much as you might have had before. And we have negative moods. These are detrimental to health, especially if these moods have lasted too long, that is, if they are chronic or severe. For example, sadness, anger, anxiety, especially fear. Attitudes and moods either affect our health directly or they influence our behaviors, and these behaviors in turn affect our health. So, in essence, the way we interpret a situation impacts our healthy living. In order to influence attitudes, health psychologists design interventions. Interventions are programs or actions designed to improve health outcomes. They can target individuals on an individual level, such as with cognitive behavioral therapy. They could target groups on a group level, such as with support groups, or they could target communities, such as with public health campaigns. Interventions help focus on illness prevention, illness treatment, and health promotion. Public health campaigns often aim to shift attitudes and create positive moods around healthy behaviors. That is, it makes the target audience feel good about the changes that are about to be introduced concerning their health, to let them know that it is for their benefit. It involves cognitive restructuring, persuasive communication, behavioral interventions, and addressing the implicit biases, the biases that we are not aware that we have. And it is crucial to address these biases to create a lasting change. For clarity, cognitive restructuring is changing the negative thought patterns a person has towards something to something more positive, making them more making them more comfortable with the idea of something. Persuasive communication is using targeted messages to influence their beliefs and their feelings, trying to persuade them to think differently. Behavioral interventions, just like with the others, it helps change negative experiences about healthy behaviors. It helps change the ideas of negative experiences about healthy behaviors to positive ideas by providing opportunities for these people to experience these healthy behaviors with positive outcomes or with positive experiences. That is, if a person has had bad experiences with going to the hospital before, this public health campaign could bring mobile doctors and say, come and receive free treatment. And these mobile doctors may be nicer, may use better equipment, and it could change the mind of the people in the community and think, oh, okay, well, maybe all doctors aren't so bad. Maybe going to the hospital isn't so bad. Maybe eating healthy isn't so bad, and so on. Because health psychologists have a good understanding of attitudes and how it affects our understanding of health, they use the understanding of attitudes to aid their interventions and to aid their planning of the processes involved in these interventions. We have motivational interviewing. This helps individuals explore and resolve ambivalence about behavior change. That is, for people who are on the fence, who don't really know how to react or respond to these health changes, the motivational interviewing is to help find out why they feel this way or why they're lethargic and use that as an opportunity to change their minds or their attitudes. Stress management techniques. We could teach coping skills to manage stress and improve mood, which is a solid way to intervene the health life of a community of or an individual, because if they see positive outcomes through these coping skills, they are more likely to change their attitudes towards their health. And social support enhancement. This is building and strengthening social networks to foster positive emotions and encourage healthy behaviors. Because if people feel like they're part of a community that cares about their health, it's easy for them to care about their health. If they feel like they're part of a community that is ready to encourage them and support them, or has the same beliefs as them, it's easy for them to believe the good things about health stronger. It is easy for their attitudes, their positive attitudes that you're introducing, to be stronger. Stress is the body's reaction to any change that requires an adjustment or response. Stress could be a physical, mental, or emotional response. It could also be acute, which means temporary, or chronic, which means long lasting. There are two types of stress. We have eustress, which is positive stress, can be motivating and lead to improved performance and satisfaction. Just like the stress you undergo when you're planning a wedding. I mean, you're happy about planning your wedding. It's stressful, it's tasking, but it's okay. It makes you excited, it can even make you happy. Or the stress you undergo when you start a new job. And I mean, you know that this is stressful. You're learning new things. You're getting there extra early so that you can keep up. But you're happy because, I mean, it's a job. You're going to be getting paid and it sounds good. Financial success. Financial success could be stressful, but it's really good news because the process you might have gone through to get that financial success might have been really hectic, but you're happy. You're happy that you have the opportunity to make this money. Something that isn't listed here is having a baby. Having a baby is very stressful. The process of labor, the process of giving birth and taking care of the child, even though the child is crying all night, for those that have crying babies, it is stressful, but it is also a joyous time. The other type is distress. Distress is negative stress, which leads to feelings of anxiety, exhaustion, and can impair health. It makes a person feel very heavy, and anxiety is not good, really. Things that could cause this are the exact opposite of things that cause you stress, like divorce. As opposed to planning a wedding, planning a divorce, the whole process, the legal process, trying to change custody, it is stressful and it is exhausting and it doesn't make anybody happy. Job loss. You lose your job. Yes, you might have been complaining that this work is so hard. You'd rather be working hard and have a job than be unemployed. In fact, being unemployed is more mentally draining than being employed and of course being paid from that employment. The financial difficulties. The same way you hustle when you want to attain financial success is the same way you hustle when you want to overcome financial difficulties. The difference is in financial success, you're actually getting good rewards, good returns from your effort. So you're feeling good about the effort you're putting in, even though it's really tough and you're not really sleeping. But financial difficulties, you don't feel good about them because you're not getting good results. Your bills are piling up, your debt is piling up, you're getting broker and broker. It is not a good way to experience your financial planning, that is going through difficulties as opposed to success. So these are two ends of the same stick, and it helps to show how stress can either be good or bad. Attitude has an impact on stress levels. As we had seen, the attitude and mood have a bi-directional relationship. We can see that attitude directly affects stress levels. Someone with a positive attitude towards problem solving may view a stressful situation as an opportunity to grow, while someone with a negative attitude may feel overwhelmed and helpless and feel like, oh, why me? The universe is bad. If you view your challenging situations as an opportunity to grow, not that you would be looking for challenges or you'd be looking for misfortune, but you would embrace challenges and say, okay, I probably need to learn something new to overcome this financial difficulty. I probably need to increase my network of friends so that I can survive this divorce, gather emotional support, live a life outside this marriage that was failing. Or I need to build up my skill so that I don't lose another job or so that I can even get a better job than before. So our attitude towards our situations or towards people helps or determines the impact of stress levels. Stress management is any strategy or technique that manages or reduces stress levels or reduces the impact of stress, which could be impacted on the physical health, mental health, or behavioral health. By physical health, we mean increased risk of heart disease, weakened immune system, digestive problems. Mental health, we have increased risk of anxiety, depression, or burnout. Then for behavioral health, we have changes in eating habits, sleep patterns, and possibly substance use. Most times, for behavioral health, it comes as a coping mechanism, trying to feel better about the stress. Say, oh, I've been working all day, I've not been sleeping, I've been running on 2 to 3 hours of sleep for the past week. Let me just eat. I need to eat so that I can manage the stress. Oh, I'm so sad from this divorce. I need to eat out my sadness. I can't sleep. I'm anxious, you know, or I'm taking alcohol to feel more relaxed because I'm stressed. Most times, behavioral health comes as a form of coping. Not all the time, but most times. But with mental health, it is usually out of our control, like burnout. When you are so exhausted and so tired and overworked, you're not in control of whether or not you're burnt out. The only way to prevent it is to carry out some of these stress management techniques. So, for example, relaxation techniques, exercise, mindfulness, getting social support. These could help with the issues of burnout or any of the mental health issues. And a lot of times, the mental health issues affect our physical health, like causing heart disease or a weakened immune system from not getting enough sleep, too. Attitude adjustment. We need to restructure our minds. We need to adjust the way we see things. We could do this through cognitive restructuring, positive self talk, and gratitude practices. Cognitive restructuring is usually done by a psychotherapist. Positive self talk, there are lots of YouTube videos we could watch, or articles, or self help books that help encourage us daily and make us feel like we can do this because truly we can. And gratitude practices. That is, we could learn to appreciate the little steps. If we have an overall goal that could take 10 months, we need to be grateful for each of the steps that we take that lead us to that overall goal so that we celebrate the little wins. And seeking help. For situations where it is beyond us, we need to be honest with ourselves and say, this feeling or this stress is too much for me. I need therapy. I need counseling. I need a support group. I need social support from my friends and from my family. There is no shame in needing help to manage stress. According to the World Health Organization, quality of life is an individual's overall perception of their position in life in the context of the culture and value systems in which they live, and in relation to their goals, expectations, standards, and concerns. This means that a person perceives their quality of life based on what they know to be good. And what they know to be good is defined by their culture and value systems, defined by the culture and value systems that they grew up knowing in the area they grew up in. It also matters to them based on their goals, what they expect of their life, the standards they have for what a life should be like, and what they are concerned about. The domains of quality of life. We have physical health, psychological health, social relationships, environment, and personal beliefs. These domains influence how we feel about our overall quality of life because each of these domains have different evaluations based on the individual. Meaning that I could feel good physically and not feel good psychologically. I could feel like my social relationships are fine, but my environment isn't good. I could feel like personally I'm not in line with my God. I'm not in line with my values. I'm experiencing cognitive dissonance because of my values and my sense of meaning and purpose, whereas other areas are okay. Which is why the WHO defined it as the overall perception, that is, factoring in all these domains. Now, the importance of quality of life. It is good for health outcomes. It is easy to predict the physical and mental health outcomes of a person based on their quality of life. How they are feeling now, the energy levels they have, whether or not they are mentally stable, has a high predictive factor to how long they can live, how well they can live, and how often they'll be prone to falling sick. Treatment decisions. Because quality of life encompasses various domains, when one domain is being treated, the other domains have to be considered. So, if a person is having physical health issues, you have to check their environmental health, their personal beliefs, their psychological health, and their social relationships before considering how to treat them. For example, if somebody is having chronic pain issues, maybe the pain is caused from an amputated leg or something, different reasons, different things cause pain, and you want to prescribe pain medication for them as a doctor, you have to consider whether or not the person is suffering from substance use disorder or has a high propensity to it. This informs doctors on what medication to give. Even psychologists, when psychologists are trying to administer, clinical psychologists are trying to administer psychological treatment to a person, you have to consider their overall quality of life before determining what area should, what therapy approach should be used. Public health policy, that is, what public health policies or what policies have been initiated by the governing body of a society or an environment. So this this list of policies guide the interventions and guide the methods that a health practitioner is allowed to use to improve the health of a person or of a population. And individual well-being. How do they really feel? How are they doing? If you can address the domains of the quality of life, you can influence them. So, understanding quality of life helps to impact quality of life.